What's going on, fight fans? This is Capital Combat. The name says it all. I'm Rob Jarrell, and this is the preview to the Bantamweight Championship matchup featuring Naoya, the Monster Inoue, taking on Nonito, the Filipino Flash Donaire. Again, in a Bantamweight title matchup where the WBA, the WBC, the Ring, and if I'm not mistaken, IBF Bantamweight titles are on the line, going down in Saitama, Japan. I'm on the East Coast, so that means it's going down at like 5 a.m. East Coast time. But there will be a replay on ESPN Plus tomorrow, so definitely check it out. And this is a rematch against the 2019 title fight that was part of the World Boxing Super Series that took place, in which Inoue won a hard-fought unanimous decision over Nonito Donaire in an explosive fight. If I'm not mistaken, it was definitely the fight of the year, and honestly, it should have been. What can you say about these guys that hasn't already been said? Inoue being undefeated with the extremely high knockout rate has basically passed the test by going the distance and winning a hard-fought fight against the naturally bigger Donaire. And Donaire had a career resurgence, say what you want, but he's had some very quality wins outside of those losses that he had with Magdaleno, Lomachenko, Walters, Inoue, and Gilbert Rigondeaux. So at 39, can he pull off the upset on Donaire, or will Donaire stay undefeated and continue to be the man at 118 pounds? Let's get into it. So in the last fight that took place, Inoue found himself against a very cagey, intelligent, patient fighter, in veteran, former champion, and I think he was a champion at the time, in Donaire. Starting out in that fight, Inoue used his natural gifts and youth, which means his speed, his power, his footwork, his stamina, in order to, I'm not going to say dominate, but give Donaire trouble early. Whereas Donaire, knowing that he was the older guy, not having as fresh as legs, going through some wars, he did what most veterans do. They remain patient, pick their spots, take advantage of the openings and those little things that the veterans do very well in order to keep the fight close. And as the fight wore on, you could see his punches get closer and closer and closer to hurting Inoue, until he eventually did with the counter right hand. And again, in that particular fight, while Nonito Donaire has good speed, he has great power, and he has very underrated, I'm not even gonna say underrated, he has amazing skills, especially for that weight. He's one of the better smaller weight fighters in probably the last 20 years. In taking Inoue into deep waters, but he wasn't able to come out with the victory. And if you ask me, the knockdown that happened in the 11th round really made the difference, because he had battered Inoue. He had landed some great shots. If I'm not mistaken, he cut him and drew blood from his nose. So this fight may be a little bit different, considering that Nonito Donaire will be 40 this year. I don't know how much time he has left, and considering this, he's had these high-level fights and being under VADA regulations for performance-enhancing drugs makes his career all the more better. With this fight, Hakeem and I don't think that Nonito Donaire is going to be able to withstand the punishment of Inoue over 12 rounds the second time around. Inoue has gotten a look at him. He understands what Nonito Donaire brings to the table, and I think he would be more pressed to take his time. A lot of the times, Inoue gets caught looking. He gets caught looking at his work, staying in a little bit too long, and not bringing his fist back to defend himself. And he's got great athleticism, great footwork, where he can get himself in and out of trouble. But when you leave that jab out there and become inundated with your work, that gives a guy like Nonito Donaire with good reflexes, great timing, patience, and intelligence a chance to get that process down. As I looked at the fight, we know Donaire has an amazing left hook, but a lot of the times when he suffered those early losses, well, those big time losses, and then ever since the Vic Darchinyan fight, he's relied on his one-shot power. He really went away from that, knowing that that can't be the only thing that he truly brings to the table in order to win fights, especially at the higher level. So he took his time and he really utilized punching over the jab of Inoue consistently, hurting Inoue and making him a little bit more hesitant to engage. Inoue would engage. He wanted to land his patent in 1-2, but when you have a guy timing your jab and doing very well to punch with you, when Inoue threw his right, he would a lot of the times be countered with the left. Nonito would turn with the punch while bringing his left hook over the top. So it's going to be more the same, but I think Inoue really steps on the gas and keeps his foot on the gas, knowing that he has those youth advantages. But being a very smart fighter, I don't think he's going to be as aggressive because when he got overly aggressive, that's when he got punished, and he doesn't want to get into that fight. And I think Donaire knows he has to hurt Inoue earlier and more often, which means he's going to have to engage just a little bit more. He did a good job moving forward, utilizing the jab to keep Inoue on his back foot, not running away, but in a sort of retreat, so he really couldn't sit down on his punches as well earlier in the fight. And utilizing that jab, not just to land punches on Inoue, but to kind of blind him and catch him with the right hand when he was the aggressor. I think Inoue is going to land shots earlier. I think he's going to, again, get hurt, but not as bad in this fight. Whereas Donaire, who got hurt a couple of times and was able to weather the storm, being the naturally bigger guy, being through those bouts and knowing how to position his body, turn normally hard shots into glancing shots and turning with those punches. I don't think he's going to be able to do that, and neither does Hakeem. We don't know how much energy and in those legs that he has to move around. And he's very underrated athlete. He always has been. But in this fight, you can only carry those legs but for so long. And his style is not quite B-Hop's. B-Hop has had one of the best later age careers ever. And I know Nonito Donaire wanted to be that guy, but because of his body type and his style, where he's on his feet, kind of moving around in and out, he doesn't have that bounce anymore, and he's more so wants to start walking guys down just a little bit more, not simply walking them down, but kind of putting a little bit more pressure and coming forward instead of in and out, moving and hopping with his opponent. This is going to be a late round stoppage. I believe it. I'm looking at 10, and not just he's just going to knock him out. I think this is one where, in a way, forces a TKO with Donaire on his feet, because he is very prideful, and you're simply just not going to knock him out. You'll batter him around, but unless you can put him down and out like Walters did, you're just simply not going to knock Nonito Donaire out. You just simply have to overwhelm him, and that's what Inoue has to do in this fight. That's really all I got for you. This is going to be an interesting fight. This is going to be a great fight that's going down in Japan at the Saitama Arena. Tell us what you think. Do you think Nonito Donaire can have a career best win against the Monster, or do you think the Monster, Inoue, continues his knockout streak, win streak, and is on his way to becoming the undisputed champion, wanting to hunt down that WBO belt? Put your thoughts down below. Tell us what you think. You can hit us up on Facebook at Capital Combat, Instagram at Capital Combat, or at Gmail at capitalcombat@gmail.com. And until next time, fight on.
This is round one, and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and gone. My fists are on fire. I perform till